You are welcome to Literature Hub 247, a free online literature class. We are still on that interesting, lovely prose titled Parts of Lucas. Parts of Lucas is written by Susanne Bellefeuille. This is chapter 8 of the novel. We've earlier discussed the plot summary as well as chapters 1 to 7 of the novel on this channel. So you may request for the link to the previous videos on this prose. So you can do that through the comment section and the link will be sent to you. This is chapter 8. In chapter 7, we discuss how Lucas introduced Isabel to his parents. But Isabel on her own is unable to introduce Lucas to her own parents. And this caused a lot of problem that at the end of that chapter, they parted in disagreement. That Isabel just left Lucas without even saying goodbye. So let's see what happens after. Whether they come together again, whether Isabel introduces Lucas to her parents. Let's see what happens. As the summer ends, Lucas doesn't hear from Isabel. He always looks for her each time he drives past her house. That is, whenever he drives past Isabel's house, he look for her. Maybe we'll see her. He thinks he will see her one day going home from her father's farm, but she's not seen. Lucas has grown to become a man. He has gathered some experiences and is no longer the young, infatuated boy. He works on his dad's farm with his brother, James. He is not socializing much again, but goes swimming at the lake during summer. He stays at home more as autumn sets in and helps his father on the field. Lucas is unhappy, hence he withdraws from society. When Mr. Thomas put up his land for sale, John, Lucas' father, is interested in buying the land, but wants to see the property before purchasing it. He asks James and Lucas to accompany him to the place. They go in their father's pickup truck. It's just a few miles to their place and just pass the vehicle on the side of the road. When they get there, the land is about 40 acres and they look at the land across the road. James asks their father why he wants to purchase the land. John explains that the land is a gravel pit where a lot of money can be made. In response to another question from James, he explains that Mr. Thomas is selling the land because he is old and wants to move to the city. He has also made his money and wants to move closer to her daughter. As the conversation between John and James about Mr. Thomas continues, Lucas tries to remember what Isabel told him about the man, that is about Mr. Thomas. Lucas is deep in thought of this when James seeks his opinion on the land. His father discovers that his mind is far away and asks him if he is okay. He says he's fine and that the land will be a profitable one. He then asks his father where Mr. Thomas lives. John is cautious about answering the question because he doesn't want to hurt Lucas by bringing up Isabel's matters. The father even knows that the issue of Isabel is disturbing Lucas. But he doesn't have any other option than responding to the question. He says Mr. Thomas' house is not too far from Isabel's dad's house. John asks James and Lucas if they are ready to visit Mr. Thomas, and they answer in the affirmative. They head to Mr. Thomas' house in the truck. As they are going on the way, Lucas remembers that Isabel told him that she was walking with one Mr. Thomas. His heart starts beating as he thinks of the possibility of seeing Isabel in the house. When they reach the house, Lucas' heart is still pounding. Their father calls out for Mr. Thomas, but nobody responds. They approach the house and knock at the door. Mr. Thomas' granddaughter, Julia, asks them to come inside after John introduces himself and the children and their mission there. Mr. Thomas then appears and asks them why they are in his house. John introduces everybody to him again and tells him that they are there to buy the land he put up for sale. Mr. Thomas explains that he wants to sell 40 acres down the road and will later sell the house. He says he will soon move to the city with his daughter. John and Mr. Thomas see the deal about the land in less than an hour. John tells the latter that his lawyer will prepare the documents and bring them back for him to sign with the check. Mr. Thomas shakes hands with John and thanks him for the transaction. He then moves to John's lawyer for the documentation. Lucas is quiet throughout as he hopes he will see Isabel in the house. So his mind is on Isabel. Whatever they are doing there is not important to him. When John sees Mr. Douglas, his lawyer, he tells James and Lucas to go and wait for him at the diner. As James and Lucas settle down at Mama G's diner, the waitress comes for their order. They tell her to give them only coffee. The waitress asks Lucas if he's the one who used to come with the pretty young lady. That is, she's referring to Isabel. Lucas responds in a sad voice and bows down his head. The woman then apologizes for causing Lucas pain when she saw the way he responded. Lucas tells the woman there is no harm done. He then remembers the fun times he had with Isabel at the diner. The waitress brings their coffee and apologizes to Lucas again. They sip their coffee and James asks Lucas if he's alright when he sees his face wearing an anguished look. Lucas says there's no problem and James gives him the idea of going to see Isabel. Lucas tells James not to talk about the topic. James apologizes and pats him on the shoulder. Their father joins them and orders beverages. He tells his children that the deal is sealed but won't be completed until Friday morning. He explains further that he will not have a chance that Friday to complete the transaction. James also will be going with Deborah to meet Donna and Scott's doctor on that Friday morning. Lucas then offers to take the document to Mr. Douglas and Mr. Thomas for his father on that Friday morning. He's only trying to look for means of seeing Isabel. Maybe possibly going to see Isabel on that day. That's why he takes the offer. John is happy with Lucas' gesture to take the document to Mr. Thomas as the man will leave for the city that Friday evening. On that Friday morning, John checks on Lucas in the barn and is happy that he has everything under control. Lucas wishes him and his mom a great day as they leave for Cornwall to see Aunt Sarah at the General Hospital. His father reminds him of the assignment concerning the land document and the check. He tells his father that there's no problem. He's happy to be engaged with his father as it will take his mind off Isabel. Lucas finishes his work on the farm and goes home to clean himself. He picks up the check from the table and drives to the lawyer's office to pick up the documents. When he leaves the lawyer's office, he thinks about the good times he had with Isabel. He brushes it aside and drives to Mr. Thomas' house. He thinks about Isabel and her beauty. He arrives at Mr. Thomas' house with the document and the check. He knocks on the door and Julia ushers him in. Lucas asks about Mr. Thomas and commends the aroma of the dinner cooking. Julia responds that it's her grandfather's maid, that is referring to Isabel, who is cooking. She says he's a wonderful cook, but she has not revealed the name there. Lucas is anxious and feels his blood rush into his head. He tries to relax, but he has a strong feeling whether the maid is Isabel. Julia notices that something is wrong with Lucas, and she asks him if everything is okay. He says it's fine, and Julia tells him to have a seat and that she's going to call Mr. Thomas, who is upstairs. As Lucas awaits the arrival of Mr. Thomas, he hears the clattering of dishes in the next room. he wonders whether it is Isabel. When he hears footsteps walking towards him, he thinks it's Mr. Thomas and is surprised that it is Isabel. The latter doesn't see him because she is engrossed in her chores. Lucas doesn't know what to do. He first thought of hugging her, but knew it was the wrong approach at that moment. He is deep in thought of the approach to use when Isabel walks towards the sitting room. She carries tea and cookies for Mr. Thomas and Lucas as demanded by Julia. Isabel concentrates on setting the tray on the table. She is however surprised that Lucas is Mr. Thomas' guest when she wants to greet the guest. That is when she knows that it is Lucas. Lucas stands up feeling nervous and smiling, greeting her. Isabel asks for his mission in the house. He responds that he has come to do business with Mr. Thomas on behalf of his father. Isabel says Lucas didn't tell her that he knew Mr. Thomas when she told him that she worked for him. He replies that he didn't know him until last week when his father bought land from him. He has that he forgot she worked there until his father mentioned Mr. Thomas, whom he then remembered. He explained that he is there to conclude the deal with Mr. Thomas before he leaves for the city. He says further that his father is accompanying his mother to visit her sister at the hospital. Isabel is concerned about Mrs. Glassen's sister and asks if anything is wrong with her. He walks closer to her and replies that Aunt Sarah was operated upon last Monday and her mother wants to visit her. Lucas expresses his feelings for not seeing Isabel in the past month. He asks her if they can talk. Isabel also has feelings for Lucas, as she also misses being with him. She tells Lucas that she cannot talk to him there because she is working. Lucas suggests picking her up after work and talk, and then taking her home. Isabel agrees but tells him that she must be at home before dark. Mr. Thomas approaches and Lucas greets him. He responds to his greetings and introduces Isabel as his wonderful maid. That is, Mr. Thomas introducing Isabel to Lucas as his wonderful maid. Isabel thanks Mr. Thomas as she sets the table. Mr. Thomas and Lucas settle down, and the latter asks for Lucas' father. He explains that his father is not able to come because he follows his mother to the hospital to see her sister. Lucas tells him that he has all the documents for him to sign and the check. Mr. Thomas signs the document. Julia enters and appreciates Lucas and his father for buying her grandfather's land. They drink the tea and the chocolate. They drink the tea and the chocolate chip cookies prepared by Isabel. Lucas later tells them that he is leaving to complete his work on the farm. Mr. Thomas and Julia see him off to the door and wave at him as he drives off. So, that is chapter 8 of part of Lucas. As I said earlier, we've discussed the plot summary and chapters 1 to 7 earlier on this channel. You can request for the link to those previous videos through the comment section and it will be sent to you. Like this video, you are free to share it on any social media platform. Invite your friends and colleagues to join us. Teachers in the house, introduce your students to this platform so that they can also benefit. If you have any question or comment, send it to the comment section and it will be attended to. Let's meet in the next class. Thank you and God bless.